Hello, what's up everybody? And I'm actually back with a special video today. I actually thought about doing this last night, but I decided to wait till Saturday, given now I see there's even more information that's out. I'm here to talk about the WWE releases that have happened in the past 24 hours, and obviously a few more have actually happened today as we speak, so I kind of wanted to wait, see if anything else was going to happen. I thought about doing it last night, but now that I've seen some more names have been, you know, for release now. I actually kind of want to talk about it now, unless some more come up. Then we'll see if anything happens throughout the day. But I do want to take a little bit of time to actually speak on this with these multiple releases. I know WWE had some releases probably about a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, but they have really released a lot of people this time. Obviously, we usually see this around post WrestleMania and whatnot. Did I say I'm surprised by some of the people getting released? Yeah, some of them. I will say that. I've already seen fans just go back and forth online, arguing with each other, basically just going at WWE's head, TKO, Triple H, and others, arguing amongst each other. Even though I do kind of feel like with some of these fans, I feel like they didn't really kind of care for the people that were already there. But then when they got released, now they've gone into an uproar, but weren't really caring when they were on TV. That's some of it to what I've seen, but I do want to at least talk about. Let's talk about the list of people that got released first. I want to kind of go through a few of them, just kind of get my quick thought on it. So the following people have been released from WWE: Braun Strowman, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Jakara Jackson, Eddie Thorpe, Riley Osborne, all of Gallus, which are Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, and Wolfgang. And today, what I've seen on Saturday is Oro Mensah, Javier Bernal, and Danny Palmer. And I guess you could add Shotzi Blackheart to the list now too, but I guess they're not gonna renew her contracts. I guess she'll finish whatever date she has left, and then she'll be gone. But I don't know, kind of damn near the same thing. But at least she gets some time left before she's gone from the company. So I do want to at least kind of speak on a few of these things, because some of these people on this list were actually hired back twice and let go again, which kind of makes you question some things here. So let's start off with Braun Strowman. I look at Braun Strowman's second go around at WWE. Some would believe he was there mostly to put over like a lot of new monsters they got nowadays, because from his time up to now, obviously, we haven't really seen him. He didn't even make it to WrestleMania, but obviously, we've seen him in a lot of crash collision course matches. If you ask me, obviously against Bronson Reed, with both monsters going against each other, and even recently with Jacob Fatu. I think the last match he did was that Last Man Standing. Was it a Last Man Standing match? Yeah, I think it was. Last Man Standing with Jacob Fatu. I think he was there when Ricochet was around. They were a team before Ricochet ended up leaving up out of there. Then Strowman, I think he only may have got hurt like one time and whatnot. So he was pretty somewhat back. Well, I wouldn't say quickly, but he was back. But I don't know what else they would have done with Braun Strowman. I don't know if they were gonna push him to any title or anything, but the way they were booking him, someone say he was just there to put like the new big monsters over and stuff. Cause I enjoyed the stuff he did with Bronson Reed, with Reed jumping off the what was it, jumping off a big ledge into a car and just fighting all over the place with security, trying to hold them and breaking the ring, and like it was a whole crazy feud. And even with the Jacob stuff, obviously they had Jacob kill this man on what was it, Saturday night's main event not that long ago, and both these guys just kept running each other over all the time. So Strowman being released the second time, I don't know. It is somewhat kind of surprising given it's the second go around, but I don't know. I guess they didn't have much of a use for him anymore. I'm not sure, but I was actually somewhat surprised he got let go again. Let's talk about the next person who got released again, Dakota Kai, given that she was hired back to this company a few years ago. Listen, if you know me, I don't really gotta care that much. You already know I'm not that big of a Dakota Kai fan here, but obviously in the past couple days, I know she had said something on Twitter talking about she missed being in the ring, and I think she said she wasn't hurt. And I know she had like a new hairdo and whatnot, so maybe she was gonna come back with a different gimmick. I don't know. most of her second run is mostly being involved in damage control. Like, if you know me, I give two craps about damage control. I like most of the people in there individually, most of them, but I have never cared much about this group. Some would say Dakota Kai has been injury prone due to her knees, which we have known that for the past few years now. And a lot of people wonder why they will not put a singles championship, especially with these new mid-card women belts. A lot of people thought she was going to win the women's Intercontinental Champion. In a way, I kind of thought, too, the way they were pushing it and playing multiple video packages. No, they did not end up doing it. And most of the time, I feel like I've seen Dakota Kai was, what was it? I think mostly with Io. Most of the time, just kind of walking around with her, or if they was in a tag match. But me personally, I think she was never really over like that. I didn't see it, and every time I felt it was a tag match, I think that was mostly because of Io that was over. We know the crowd is obviously over with Io. We know that all the time, even when they were in tag matches. It was mostly Io and whatnot. So I don't want to say I'm kind of too surprised by this, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like, given she said something online, like 2 days before this, it's like, oh damn, they really did release her now. So that kind of tells you something if that's the case. So in a way, it's somewhat kind of out of nowhere because I think she had been off TV. I don't remember the last time she was on Raw. Maybe it was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. But once again, I think that was just walking around with Io and whatnot. But like I said, she said she wasn't hurt, so I guess WWE just kind of had us sit until they just decided, to release her and everything. So that's kind of the case behind that. Unless there's more, then I don't know. Kaden and Katana, I would say this: they were like the only other women's tag team that was actually legit. And I feel like ever since they kind of got to the main roster, they really did nothing with both of them. They hyped them up for a minute, but most of their time was on NXT as the NXT Women's Tag Champions. Like I said before, they're like the only other women's tag team that's legit because every other women's tag team on this show is all makeshift tag teams. And I feel like the last time I actually saw them do something was on SmackDown when they did that gauntlet match and everything. I know they lost, but that was kind of like the last time I saw them. I know their gimmick, they were like party ravers and whatnot. So that's what they were. But I felt like you didn't see them really not that much on TV after a while. But I was like, they were the only like legit like women's tag team that were really around. Because it's not really a lot of women's tag teams that you could say were legitimate tag teams. Everybody's like a makeshift tag team. So them getting let go, it's somewhat surprising, but they haven't really done nothing with them for so long, so you can't be too surprised by it. Shayna Baszler, I'll say this. Shayna Baszler was a killer in NXT. And that was probably most of the biggest thing she did was in NXT before she got to the main roster. They did kind of push her a little going into WrestleMania against Becky, but she ended up losing. But throughout her time, I guess, on the main roster, they even kind of sent her back to NXT to, fight Lola Vice in that underground match and whatnot. But looking at the main roster stuff, the last thing she was doing, part of the whole stud line thing with, Sonya Deville, which she's gone. Zoe Stark, well, hey, she's still there, but you didn't even really see them after a while after, Deville ended up leaving in. I know it's been brought up before with the rumors of, Jade having a lot of heat with people in the back, and I know people kind of bring up the clip now back from Clash at the Castle of Baszler, like, legitimately trying to choke out Jade in the ring, so apparently that may have been legit. Maybe WWE got mad because, like, you kind of heard a cash cow here that the big new star that they got, so some believe that's the case, but I'm not surprised with Baszler being gone because they haven't really done nothing with Baszler for a while. And I'm sure a lot of people thought Triple H was going to do something with Baszler, given he was in charge, but no, they didn't. So like I said before, her claim, like the biggest claim to fame in WWE, biggest thing she did in WWE was on NXT. She was a legit killer going through everybody in NXT. And those the black and gold days right there. So that was like the biggest thing because I can't really name anything else notable. Like, I know she was in multiple tag teams. Her and Jax were a team at one point too, and she's been in WWE for a pretty good while now, if I'm not mistaken. So Baszler being gone, I can't say I'm too surprised by that. Cora Jade, and I'm actually surprised by some of the names I read when it comes to NXT, especially given the frequent TV time a lot of these guys have got. Cora Jade, the last thing she did was on Stand and Deliver, and it was with Roxanne, that tag team on that pre-show. And Roxanne walked out on her, so I kind of assumed they were going to have a feud going on. But I think that was like the last time we saw Cora Jade. Now, sure someone's going to say injury prone, just like Dakota Kai here, because if you remember, she had like a knee injury. I don't know if it was an ACL, and then she came back. But then, like we heard, like a few days later, she got hurt again, and she was gone again. And we didn't really see her back till later on. I would say it's about Cora Jade, because at one point they really were pushing her like a big deal, especially once the NXT 2.0 stuff it began. They kind of put her up there, like somewhat like a top woman and whatnot. And they like they really were doing it. Like they really were like doing the whole skateboard punk thing. Like, yeah, you hear me come on, make a lot of jokes, big titty skateboard girl and all that nowadays and stuff, but they really were putting her like in a high level in the company. But I feel like once they put her with, obviously with Roxanne and everything, and a feud they had, and, kind of like being enemies, then friends again. Listen, we all know Roxanne is better, okay? We know that, especially from, just in-ring overall package. We know why they've pushed Roxanne at the top of the NXT women's division for a pretty good long time now. So when you kind of think about it with both of them, you know who's on a different level than the other. But I was somewhat kind of surprised, just like I said, once again, she was mostly frequently on TV a lot of times, and with Roxanne, especially in recent times. So her getting let go is quite surprising in a way. Gigi Dolan, once again, you just did something with her last week when her and Tatum Paxley, and I guess I gotta get to Shotzi later on too, because that was a whole group, because I called them the Gothic Powerpuff Girls. I think they were called Chemical X, and yeah, like Shotzi, not Shotzi, but Gigi and Tatum were just going against Liv and Raquel for the NXT Women's Tag Teams. Hell, I just saw them on Rebellion on TNA last Sunday. So that was actually kind of quite surprising. I'm like, oh, they let Dolan go? That's kind of surprising, given that we just saw something last week. So that really kind of came out of nowhere. Jakar Jackson, and I guess I can say this about Oro Mensah too, because what's crazy to me is that, okay, Noam Dar came back last week, right? And then, okay, all the Metaphor are back. But then they have a segment on Tuesday, and then it was like, we're all going to go our separate ways, because Oro got the, not Oro, but Noam Dar, like I said, Noam Dar, he came back, and he got that Heritage Cup. And I remember just, like, lashing on him, walking in, and say Oro's doing his thing on Evolve, which I don't know what's on Evolve. I don't watch that show. But I guess he was down there doing things, and I guess, Lash and Jakar, they were going to go for the women's tag titles and whatnot, but I guess, well, yeah, now that's dead, so I guess that breakup was just legit of breaking up the Metaphor, because now two of them are gone now. So, yeah, Jakar Jackson being gone, that's very surprising. Like I said, just given with Lash as a team, but I feel like the company looks more of Lash, with money, like that, there's money to be drawn there, and they do kind of look at her as, they building it into a name and whatnot. Because we have seen her in singles matches, and she's gotten better. And, like the woman's a giant, too, okay? So, I can kind of see why they would push Lash over Jakar in a way. But I thought the team was working between both of them, because, once again, consistently on TV and tag matches multiple times. But I guess they just want to push Lash down as, singles competitor now. So, very surprised that Jakar Jackson was released. Oro, I honestly didn't know what Oro was really even doing until they even said Evolve. The last thing I kind of, obviously, other than Metaphor, they had him going against Ethan Page, which I never believed he was going to win the NXT title anyway. So, I don't know really much else he was doing. But, yeah, that Metaphor breakup was legit. Eddie Thorpe, once again, this guy was just going for an NXT title not that long ago. Even though I feel like, and I think I've said this before, looking at the NXT title division right now, there's really not a lot of competitors. It really isn't. Other than Obafemi and Trick, Eddie, it's like they had to start kind of pushing somebody new. That's why we've seen guys like Javon Evans and Eddie Thorpe, which, you got to look at his booking, was kind of crazy, because this guy was getting beat all the time or looking like an idiot, or just, being the third wheel out of this whole feud and whatnot. So I don't know how much with the booking of him was really that great at NXT and against Trick. And I think the last time he was doing something, I think it was like before Stand and Deliver, when he was in that Fatal 5-Way match. So, like, given once again they were using him a lot, I was somewhat kind of surprised they let him go. Yo, so crazy to me. A lot of people say he's probably gonna go back to NJPW. I forgot this guy was even in NJPW. He was Carl Fredericks. I know he came from that LA dojo and whatnot over there before even going to WWE. So, um, I just kind of forgot he was even over in NJPW. So I was surprised to even know he was there to begin with before he became Eddie Thorpe. So yeah, I like I said, because they were really using this guy, but yeah, they let him go too. Riley Osborne, I don't really know much about. The only thing I can say, he was in Chase U, and then when they broke up Chase U, Duke Hudson got released, and that what crazy. Now they brought Chase U back, so like Chase U still around, and Thea Hell's doing her own thing, Scrappy Doo there, but yeah, Duke Hudson and now Riley Osborne, because we didn't see anything after they broke up. Chase U with him. After Chase U broke up, he just disappeared, and we didn't see him at all. Did not see him one time. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. They didn't really do nothing with him after that. Um, Next, Gallus. Somebody told me they've been in NXT for like damn near 7-8 years. I guess if you count NXT UK. Gallus, who I actually did like, and the crazy thing is they actually helped The Rock train for his comeback last year at WrestleMania. So kind of wild that they actually released all members of the group, and then once again I had to kind of look up. Apparently they were uninvolved this whole time. So I don't know what happened to Gallus, because when NXT UK stopped, we saw them more on the regular NXT show, and I know they had the tag titles, and then they lost them, and then they just kind of disappeared after a while, and you didn't really see them anymore. So the only thing I kind of remember is that, like I said, they helped The Rock train to come back at WrestleMania last year. So the fact that they let the whole group go is kind of crazy, like all of Gallus. So I'm like, damn, they're gone. Javier Bernal, I think he was Big Body Javi. He kind of like popped in and out of the show on NXT, kind of being a comedy guy and whatnot. So I don't got much to say about him, but once again, I didn't really see him on TV after a while. Danny Palmer, which the only thing I can remember, it looked like they were gonna push her, and they kind of made video packages, but I don't really know what happened to it, so I don't have much of a thought on her really, because I didn't see much of her. Shotzi, listen, Shotzi's been in. Damn, was this the second time around she was in this company, if I'm not mistaken, or not? I'm not really sure. Um, yeah, Shotzi, like I said, like she was on NXT. Honestly, she just kind of came back to NXT because she kind of disappeared off TV for a while. Like we knew she was with Dolan and Paxley, but she didn't even really come back to like stand and deliver on that pre-show, because I was like, I wonder where Shotzi's been. And we see Shotzi on the main roster in NXT too, so I don't know. Like I said, I guess until her contract ends, they're not gonna re-sign and like renew her contract. So I don't got much to say. Like I liked her, I like the Tank and everything, and they've done stuff with her. But NXT, I thought they would have kept this group going on. But then again, once again, there goes a lot of women's tag division again, because it's not like there were a lot of teams to begin with. Honestly, looking at all these guys, like all the men and women here, like I say, it sucks when we hear about the releases and everything. But you gotta wonder to yourself, was the company really doing anything with a lot of these people, or if they were, they just abruptly got let go? I don't know where everyone's gonna go. I'm sure a lot of these people are gonna end up in, AEW or TNA or New Japan or whatever company is out there right now. I'm just naming those three because that's kind of the most ones I really know. I'm sure there's going to be other companies like GCW, I guess, or DPW. Obviously the indies and whatnot too. So I feel like we're gonna see a lot of them in because what is 90 days, obviously, when somebody gets released until the whole 90-day no compete clause and whatnot. So I don't know, but obviously we're gonna see these people pop up somewhere at some point in time. So we just gotta wait on it. But like I said, AEW, TNA, New Japan, and I'm sure multiple other companies will. I feel like a lot of these people will be all right. Okay, so best luck to them, and we'll see what happens when they go there. So I don't know if anybody else is really gonna get released as of speaking in this video right now. I don't know. More could happen. We're not sure, but like I said, some I am surprised at, some I'm not surprised at. Some are a little bit weird and stuff, but you should just see the outrage on the internet, because I'm sure a lot of people point out, like, well, man, these are a lot of Triple H's people and whatnot. But some people would question who's really in charge of the firings and releases here. Is it Triple H and Shawn Michaels? Or is it mostly just TKO themselves, or Nick Khan, or I don't know, Ari Emanuel? Hell, you gotta put The Rock up there. He's like one of the big members of the board. So you gotta look at the upper management and stuff when you really think about these things. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, just kind of crazy that a lot of releases have been happening in the past 24 hours. But hey, this usually happens around post WrestleMania time. But hey, we just saw releases not that long ago, like a few months ago. So I don't know. We'll see. But other than that, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, HoodNight890. See y'all then, and peace out.